Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching another SIL interview on the channel. Thank you very much for coming back to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so before you watch this video. I am delighted to be able to say that this evening, well, for me, it's an evening. For you guys, whenever it is. I'm delighted to be able to say that I have Ben Smith, the latest signing for Kesgrave Kestrels, with me in the studio today. First of all, Ben, how are you doing? How is life in lockdown?
I'm not doing too bad, thanks, Val. I'm not doing too bad. Life in lockdown's getting a bit boring now. Well,
Yeah.
we're 12 weeks in, so
Hmm.
I mean, at least we've got good weather we can enjoy when I'm not stuck working, which I'm sure you're the same. But
Yeah.
it's nice to be sort of at home, relaxing, not being in work all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, get everything back open soon is what I say.
Yeah.
It's,
100%. And
it's
bring football back, because
oh,
Christ above, I'm
100%.
missing it. 100%.
Yeah, me and you both. I mean, when did football stop? March now, so
Yes. Yeah, it did, didn't
that's
it?
at least 3 months, and I haven't kicked the ball in a competitive game. I did 5 minutes in January, and then before that was November. So it's been a long old while for me.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely itching to get back out there. Definitely.
100%. So let's kind of, before we talk about Kesgrave and the move that's
hmm
just happened here, let's kind of go back on last season and talk about
hmm
what happened to you, because
Yeah.
people may well have seen when the announcement was made from Kesgrave Kestrels about yourself, but I want
hmm
to hear from you what happened last season, because initially when you first started, you were with East Burgold.
Yeah. So sort of summer last year, pre-season. We got a new manager down at Burgolt, and it was a clean slate for everyone. He
Mm-hmm.
basically said, whoever is here and whoever wants to come training. So I was like, you know what, this is my year. I'm going to get a name for myself in the SIL,
Yeah.
going to score some goals, help Burgolt push up the league. I managed 10 minutes of pre-season before I got some sort of injury down on my leg, and I was nursing that for all of pre-season. So that just sort of set the tone for the rest of the year, to be honest.
Right.
Got back fit, tried to get back in the side. I was finding it tough to get my fitness back, which I should openly admit I was struggling to get that fitness back. The injury I had recurred a couple of times. Went and saw a physio. They basically said we don't really know what it is, but you can kind of manage it. So I was kind of managing things. Got sort of to a point where I was managing it. Got my fitness back. Sort of November time. I can remember the game. I was playing Cops away at Wanderers, and right at the end of the game, my hamstring just went, hobbled off, and that was pretty much the last bit of football I played last year.
Christ.
Until sort of early January. I think it was the second weekend of January. Came on for the sort of last 5-6 minutes away at Leiston, St Margaret's.
Yeah.
Still felt my hamstring then, but yeah, then comes the whole bombshell that happened. So basically, after that weekend, I had actually decided before anything else happened, I'm going to sort of get myself fit, and I'm going to drop down, sign for Kesgrave, which I was actually meant to do last year, because there's two of my best mates down there, Luke
Really?
Johnson and Luke Kingham Jones. So they basically said, mate, come down here, get fit, score some goals, and get your confidence back, basically,
Right.
because it had been shot. So I sort of made that decision, and then the week after I'd made that decision, I get my diagnosis. So yeah, it was a tough old time, that was.
Because for those
Yeah.
who aren't aware,
Mhm.
you were diagnosed with testicular cancer.
Yeah.
Now, at any age, that's horrific. It doesn't matter who you are, what your circumstances are. That's horrible. But you're 23 years old.
Yeah.
That's just. I mean, talk me through the. And I can't believe these even words are going to utter out of my mouth. But can you talk me through the kind of process and how you initially found this out, what happened before the diagnosis, then when you had the diagnosis. Just kind of talk me through your story, because I
Yeah,
think it's a story that needs to be shared.
sure. So I think it was around Christmas time. I mean, blokes will know the feeling. But I started sort of getting some sensitivity down there.
Right.
You know, sort of the pain you get when you're sort of knocked or hit there would be there very easily.
Okay.
So playing that 5 minutes up at Leiston was quite painful. So yeah, it started off with some sensitivity, and then a couple of weeks later, the pain was still there, and then there was actually sort of swelling and a change of shape of the right testicle. So I actually had something which I can't remember the name of a year ago, which was nothing to worry about. It's very common.
Right.
So I thought, oh, it might just be this again. But you know, I left it sort of a couple of weeks, didn't really get any better. I thought maybe I'd been knocked, or maybe I'd done something, you know, to it. Thought I'd leave it a couple of weeks. Then I was like, you know what, I need to go get this checked again, 100%. Went to my GP, and he automatically said, yeah, we'll send you up to the hospital for an ultrasound. I can't tell you what it is, I don't know, but that's obviously quite suspicious, because it was noticeable by that point. You know, so there was noticeable when you kind of look at yourself, you kind of know, okay, yeah, that's something's wrong there. So sort of day of diagnosis, I went in with sort of clear head, because I thought, you know, surely not, you know, but you always have those thoughts in the back of your head. Sort of went in, they sort of chatted to you, give you an ultrasound, like, you know, the nurses and whatever there, the practitioners are lovely. Sort of chatting away, and they did one side, which was fine. And then I just sort of knew straight away, because as soon as they went over to that side, the chatting stopped. You know, they were sort of going over she sort of looked a bit like this. They started pressing buttons, they started printing. So kind of got a bit wobbly, still 100% not sure. And then she sort of stopped and said, yeah, unfortunately, it looks like, you know, it's a tumor. It looks cancerous, like 95% chance cancerous. So I had my dad in the room with me, which I'll go into why he was there and a bit of background from there. But he was there supporting me. And yeah, so I basically got found out then. It was a whirlwind from there, really. They kind of rushed off to get the specialist to come and take a look. They didn't even tell me, you know, pull your pants up, mate. Like, you know, it was all such a whirlwind situation. I was kind of out of it. So
yeah, I can't even imagine where your head's out at that point. It must be just all over the place.
Yeah, so it really was. It was just a mess at that point. It was very much like, oh God. To be honest, though, it didn't really sink in. You kind of were like, you got told it, but you didn't feel it, because apart from a bit of pain and a bit of swelling, I felt normal. Whereas where you think something such as cancer, you'd feel ill, maybe. I don't know. You think you'd know, but I guess the pain was the sign. But anyway, so basically after that, I can't fully remember every single thing, and I won't go into loads of detail. But basically, 3 or 4 days after I was diagnosed, I had my operation. So they removed it that quickly. Had CT scans, had X-rays.
Quick, actually.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think it'd be that quick. I don't know why. I just had this kind of like maybe like weeks or months. Do you know what I mean?
So did I. Yeah. I thought I'd have, you know, maybe a couple of weeks to prepare myself to go under the knife. I mean, you know, I've had operations before, but nothing major like this.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had 3-4 days. I mean, it was kind of was kind of nice in a way, because you knew then it's done, it's gone.
Yeah.
But the thing with testicular cancer, so you have like 4 stages of where you can be at, and there's 2 different types of cancers basically.
Right.
So stage 1 is like where it's localized, so it's in the testicles, that's it.
Yeah.
Stage 2 is where it's spread to the lymph nodes. Stage 3 is up into the lungs as well, and then stage 4 can be up in the brain. So yeah, I mean, it's testicular cancer, but it can go everywhere.
Yeah.
Thankfully for me, mine was stage 1, so it was localized. I found it early enough. Luckily, it hadn't spread. But the type of tumor that I had, I basically was then recommended, I didn't have to, but recommended to do 1 full cycle of chemotherapy. So it's a 5-day stay in hospital and then 2 short sessions the following Mondays.
Right. Okay.
So basically, after my operation, they said you're cancer free. So it happened to be my partner's birthday on that day, of that. So it was either going to be the best day of our lives on her birthday or the worst.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was the best. And then the day after, I went into the oncology department, and saw the people there for the chemo.
Yeah.
Basically, they said, if you don't have it and you just keep on surveillance, so you go every few months with blood tests and bits and bobs, it's
Right.
40% chance that it will come back. Which then, if it does, it's going to be a lot tougher. But if you have the recommended chemo, that takes it down to 2 to 3% of reoccurrence.
Wow.
So you don't really have a lot of choice there.
No, definitely not.
So obviously I went with the chemo, did the hospital stay. Within about a week and a half after that, I was in the hospital. So it all happened really, really quick.
Yeah.
And it's only really now that I can sit back and look at it and what actually happened, and what, the different stages of how quickly it actually went. Because at the time, I was just very much like, yep, crack on, let's do it.
Right.
I was very much like, let's push through it, let's get this done. I was probably the most positive one out of the people close to me throughout the whole thing, just because I feel like I needed to get myself through it. Because if I let it get to me, it would have probably been a lot worse than it was.
Yeah.
It was horrific. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of cancer and what I could have had, I feel very lucky in that sense, because
Right.
very quickly I've been diagnosed. I'm cancer free now, and I've got very little chance of having it again. So in that sense, I feel really, really lucky. Obviously, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, you've had cancer, you're not lucky.
So I'm thinking in my head, do you feel that because of what you had previously, where it was all clear and there was nothing at all like cancerous at all, do you think because you'd had that experience before is why you acted so quickly on it? Because I think I don't know, and I may just be generalizing here, but I think a lot of men will just kind of put those kind of things off and they'll just like push it to one side and just try to forget about it if they want to kind of discover something like that. But do you think your previous experience kind of clicked your kind of head into gear to get it sorted out ASAP?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still did that. I could have gone instantly when I felt the pain or felt slight change, but I still waited. Which is another thing I'll go on to, is the whole of what you hear if you feel something, get it checked, because too right, but I still did that, where that'll be fine, the pain will go, it's just maybe a little infection or something like that. But I did then come to obviously the realization, okay, I need to go get this checked out. But I think the experience the year before possibly, aided me going quicker than I would have done, or led me into a false sense of security that I'll be all right. because obviously I was all right the time before. The majority of times you are fine. And this is the thing, I don't want to come on here and do this interview just to scare everyone. Like, you know, everything you might feel is going to be cancer, because that's not true. That's really not.
No.
The reason I'm coming to do this interview and openly talk about it is because the one time it might be, and it's important to, you know, just to be safe, just to check, because the last thing I'd want is for it to happen to anyone else. You know, I mean, if it's going to be cancer, it's going to be cancer. But if we can get men in our area, like, losing the stigma of, well, now we're men, we'll be all right, this will go, and go and get ourselves checked, it might save people's lives. You never know, because you know, you don't know what's going to happen. So for me, like, in terms of what could have been, I feel very lucky. In terms of that I had it all together, obviously I'm not, but it's what's happened. I can't change it. So thankfully for me, I feel content now that I feel lucky to sort of be sitting here talking to you. You know, living every day now, living a normal life again. So yeah, I feel lucky in that sense, for sure.
Yeah, because I had an experience of finding something. It was, in the end, it turned out to be a cyst. Now, obviously, when you first find something like that, I don't know about you, but I didn't say anything to anyone for probably about a day. I kind of just, I shrugged it off and just thought, well, you know, it'll go away. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing to worry about. Just kind of shrug it off. Next day, still there. I don't know why, but I was in my lunchroom at work, and I just started panicking. My mind just went racing into, oh my God, what if it's this? What if it's this? What happens if this? Where's my life going to be? What are people around me going to do? What if blah, 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 blah. It just went mental. I turned around to my boss and I explained it to him. And straight away he said, go and get it checked out. Now, phone them up, go to the GP and go get it checked out. Don't worry about your appointments. Forget all of that stuff. Just go. And if I didn't have him to guide me like that, I don't know how long I would have left it. Now, as I said, luckily, it was nothing at all and everything's fine. But as I said, I do worry, and I'm glad you approached me to talk about this, because I do worry how long I would have potentially left it if I didn't speak up and have that initial conversation with someone. I mean, do you remember having a similar conversation with anyone, or did you kind of just go and get this checked out on your own?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite open with my partner on it, to be honest. So the thing last year where it was nothing, you know, I did leave it a while though before I did speak to her. So I can't remember exactly how long in time, but I left it, you know, a little while, and then I sort of opened up after, and kind of said, you know, oh, I feel this, and she was like, well, yeah, let's go get it checked then. So that was last year, and then again this year. I think with the experience last year, made me quite open with it. So pretty much, I mean, I can remember though getting the pain and sort of shrugging it off for a bit, because it was around Christmas time. You know, we were all busy celebrating. You know, kind of just like, I was kind of like 2 hours like, oh, Beth, this, you know, I have got a bit of a ache and a pain. And she was like, oh, I'm sure you'll be okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure I'm fine. Like you do, you get on, like, you know, like if you have a back pain, you kind of like, oh, back's a bit bad, but you crack on. So that's how it was. And then once I noticed the sort of swelling and change, I was like, yeah, you know, Beth, this is changing. This is, you know, and she was like, well, yeah, let's, you know what you need to do. You need to go get yourself checked. And I knew that anyway, but we were quite open and honest about it. like thankfully we've got that relationship together. I'm quite like that with her. I still left it though, so
Yeah.
I still did a bit of the stigma. I still left it a little while before, but yeah, I mean, I think how quickly I acted definitely helped.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have set in stone like, oh, if you left it another 2 weeks, it would have gone this. They don't know.
No, of course.
It's
There's
still
no
very
way of knowing, I
unknown.
suppose, is there?
No, not at all. But thankfully for me, I went early enough.
Yeah.
So that's just all I'll come on here and say is to all the guys that watch this, don't take away from this that you need every day you need to have a feel and panic and whatever, because that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
It's just, if you notice a change, go to your GP for peace of mind, and then just once a month or twice a month even, in the shower, have a check your balls.
Yeah. Simple as that.
That's the message.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah.
So if I can help any lads out there, then all for it. And talking of that, when I posted it, because Kesgrave mentioned about me posting on social media, so basically I kept it really, really quiet, so only close friends and family knew. And then I saw someone on my timeline had tweeted about it, with saying he's had testicular cancer, and sort of advocating it as well. So that gave me the push to go, like, to sort of tell the world, I guess. And I basically said, I replicate what this guy says. It's really important to check, blah blah blah. I think I'm going to use my experience as best as I can to do that. Not for people to know who I am, not for likes, not for this and that. It's literally just give like men the platform to speak, to check. Because if we're being honest, like when I was looking in my own time on YouTube and whatever, there's not a lot out there for men at all in terms of support with cancer and everything else. I mean, there is, but for testicular cancer itself, hardly any men have documented their experience. Hardly any men have really talked about it. I went on one chat forum, and it's mainly the men's partners talking on their behalf, saying my partner's got testicular cancer, I'm worried. So men don't talk. We're renowned for not talking. And I'm going to try and change the stigma around that, because testicular cancer is so rare, but it's the most common in men between 13 and 40, I think it is. So it's, cancer doesn't happen very often in people sort of our age, but it does, and testicular cancer is the most popular one. So if I can do just a little bit to maybe, even if one person goes from this and goes and gets checked, that's accomplishment for me. So that's what I'm trying to do.
And I think one thing that, especially at the moment when we release this video, we're still in the middle of sort of COVID-19 scare and everything like that. Some people may look at that as an excuse to not go and get checked out.
Definitely.
Some people may be embarrassed to go, which, I'm not being funny, GPs and stuff, they've seen far worse. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing, it's nothing to be ashamed about. You're just going there for a routine checkup. Do you know what I mean? And as you said, the best thing really is for your own peace of mind, just to make sure that everything's okay. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, the thing for me is if you're a guy, you don't have to tell anyone. I mean, if you're worried, you book your GP. I've noticed as well that GP say, "Oh, what's the appointment for?" You don't have to tell them. You just say, "I need to see a doctor for something personal." You don't have to tell any family or friends or whatever like that. You can go, you can get yourself checked out, and then hopefully, because the majority of the time it is the case that you have your peace of mind. It's nothing to worry about, and you can even not even tell one person that you've even been, so nobody would even know. But the fact that you've gone is like, you know, the right thing to do, because if you leave it, like, you know, like you said, you left it yourself for a little while. You never know. But all I would say is the majority of the time it's definitely nothing to worry about, but it's best to check.
Exactly.
So that's my message, is just to check. So
what I'm going to do in the description of this video is I'm going to put a link to the NHS website that Kesgrave have posted up on their announcement of you signing, which is it's a site to do with men's health. What should my testicles look and feel like? It's a website which has just got a few questions on there which will help answer it, and maybe if it's something you are still not comfortable going to a GP at this particular point about, maybe seeing the article may help answer just a few questions. If it raises some more, I suppose that is then the time to go to your GP, but definitely go and check that out. As a link for that will be in the description of this video. But I suppose from your point now that everything is A-OK.
Yep.
At this point, football-wise, I have to ask. You briefly mentioned about the fact that a couple of your mates play for Kestrels. Considering your CV in the game, a lot of people may be looking at this as a, you know, Division 3 side in the SIL. Why Kesgrave? Why move there?
So I heard of Kesgrave obviously through my mates that went down there. So Luke Johnson, Luke Kingham Jones, they're close friends of mine. So they've been trying to get me down there since they've been there, pretty much since day one.
Right.
It's not the only reason, to be honest. I actually have met the managers. I speak to the managers a lot now.
Right.
And, from what I hear about the club, they basically want to take players in, coach them as best as they can, and just basically have a core of a group to push up the leagues. And it's a really, from what I can gather already, the club's like a big old family.
Right.
And throughout my sort of non-league football career as such, I've always sort of struggled to fit in as part of that family, because I guess it's a lack of self-confidence in terms of I know I've had the ability as a kid. I was, playing quite a good level. But I've always sort of struggled to get into a side, not get injured, stay there, score goals, and, go from there. So for me, I basically last year, before obviously all this happened, I said to myself, you know what, Ben, you don't need an ego. You're not a professional footballer. Just because Division 3's got Division 3 on it, what does it matter? If the club's great, the players are great, it's a great bunch of lads, good managers, and you're going to go and enjoy your football again, then why the hell not? Why does it matter? Don't get me wrong, I'd love sort of maybe even, with Kesgrave, we go up the leagues. I would like to sort of test myself. I've always been like that. That's why, not the last season, the season before, I was at Bergholt, but I moved on to Debenham and things didn't work out there. So I came back to Bergholt. But so I am someone who likes to test themselves. But at this point, I mean, I'm turning 24 in September. So I'm still quite young, but I'm not sort of in that age bracket of a young player anymore. So, I'm not going to get signed up by a Leiston and get put into their youth team and work the way up there. As such, I just thought I want to go play with a couple of my mates. And turns out that Kestrels are a great bunch of lads, a great club. They couldn't have been any more welcoming. I mean, you saw the announcement video. Like,
incredible.
They've seen me play kick a ball once. So for them to say that, it's great. It's really nice to feel that welcome that quick. And that's what I'd say that they feel like. You know, I got added to the group chat earlier this week, and message, welcome.
Yeah.
So, you know, it seems to me like, you know, it's a great bunch,
Yeah.
which is quite hard to find, I think, now in non-league.
Yeah.
Where the whole team are all together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping, you know, when we can play football, to get fit, bang in some goals, and hopefully, obviously, our target is promotion. I mean, it's got to be the target. With, you know, we've got some very good players in there, got some young players coming through as well. So,
Yeah.
Personally, we've got, I mean, I know they're my mates, but 2 senior players at least in that club. Now me. I mean, I don't know if you know Luke Johnson, that he used to be at Claydon, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's a very, very good player. So
Yeah.
same for Luke KJ. You know, he's a very, very good keeper, like very good keeper.
Yeah.
You know, me and him used to have battles, sort of in the alliance age when we were about 16. So I was on Woodbridge, who were, you know, Woodbridge and Bury were like the 2 top dogs of that age
Yeah.
group. And KJ was in Bury and I was in Woodbridge. So now we're playing together. It feels a bit of like when an Ipswich player goes to Norwich and vice versa. But, you know, times have changed. So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it.
So yeah, I think from my perspective as a neutral, looking at the club, obviously they weren't able to complete the season last year, as with everyone, but 3rd in the table in Division 3. You know, off the pitch, they're making all the right moves, making some good signings. Obviously, yourself included in that bracket. YouTube channel has just been launched.
Yeah.
That opening video, I have to say, was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It's definitely a club looking from the outside. It's making the right noises, and I think promotion push next season is definitely a realistic aim. I think you've joined at the right time for the club. They seem to be, you know, if they can make the noises on the pitch as well as off it, I think you guys will be in for a good season.
Yeah. I mean, again, you know, we say, okay, it's Division 3, but they're looking to be better than that. You know, they're looking to set the level sort of and work the way up.
Yeah.
And they're all committed. The foundations are in place. It's just now up to, I guess, me and the rest of the lads to do that on the pitch, whenever that may be. I mean, fingers crossed, because I mean, you don't play, you just watch, but you're biting at the bit to get back out there.
100%.
Watching football, I want to get back out there and kick that ball about. You know, it's, after everything, it's something that brings me joy. So
yeah,
do that, the better, and not just for Kestrels, but for everyone in sort of SIL and beyond. Because I don't know about you, but something about non-league football just brings out a lot of good in people. A lot of friendliness, a lot of people that you wouldn't normally meet. Good lads out there.
Yeah.
So whenever that may be, let's hope it's soon.
Yeah, that's it. No, I would echo that, and I think particularly in the SIL, it's a very tight-knit community, a very welcoming community. I've certainly been welcomed with open arms into it, which has been fantastic. So yeah, I you are right. I am absolutely chomping at the bit. I really, really want the season to get going again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, Ben, and kind of telling us your story. And I hope, as you said, even if it encourages one person, that's better than where we were at before. So yeah, I really appreciate how honest you've been, and just for talking to us. So thank you for coming on.
That's no worries. If you want to leave my links in the description in terms of if they need advice or anything at all on it.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm here. I'm here to listen. I'm here with open arms. So ask away. I will add on to that. Even from my one tweet, I had sort of 5 messages from random blokes on Twitter, so asking me questions. Really? And I think at least 3 people said, "Yeah, I'll go and get checked out." So
that's brilliant.
You know, spreading the word and spreading the awareness. So
yeah,
I will, when life gets back to normal, be doing things sort of for charity and everything else, because a special shout out to the nurses and the whole NHS for what they did, not just for me, but for everyone that's going on at the minute. You know, they're there workless hours doing the best job they can do. And without them, I wouldn't be here. So props to them. And yeah, roll on 2021.
100%. I don't think there's any better way of signing off on that. Thank you very much for coming on, Ben. If you've enjoyed the video, hit a like button, click the links down below for the NHS website and for Ben's Twitter so you can speak to him if you want to talk about any of the things that we've discussed in this video. Until next time, adios.